Wow, so I thought lunchtime was crowded at Kokoros, but this is ridiculous. Vice Mayor Canepa, members of the City Council, City Manager Dice, City Clerk Page, City Department heads, City staff, business owners, and City residents. Thank you so much for attending this event, and thank you so much for believing in Stockton. As I start off this morning, I would also like to thank all of our City of Stockton employees for everything they do to make this city a better place. They pave our streets, they keep our traffic lights running, they keep our parks clean, our libraries open, our senior citizens engaged, and our water running. They keep the sewer systems flowing, they keep our children safe in after-school programs, our police protect us, and our firefighters literally put out fires on a daily basis. Because I am a person who never forgets about the people who worked countless hours for this city in the past, I would like to say thank you to all the City of Stockton retirees. I would like to acknowledge the Greater Stockton Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event, this annual event year after year, and I would like to recognize all the chamber staff and members of their board of directors for promoting this city. Could all the members of the chamber still please rise? Doug, in your group, please rise, and Heidi and everybody. I would also like to thank our partners, of course, at the Port of Stockton for hosting this event and managing one of the most successful ports in the United States. Recently, I was honored to swear in a few of the port commissioners, and they are truly dedicated to maintaining a financially sound organization that continues to exceed our expectations. So thank you so much, Port of Stockton commissioners. Some of you might not know, but one of my very first jobs working for the City of Stockton as a city employee was as a campfire director at Silver Lake. So you guys never know when I'm going to call upon you to stand up or even sing or dance or even to do something crazy. Might have Doug Wilhoit come up here later tonight in the program and break dance for you guys all. What do you guys think? At this time, I would like to recognize my colleagues from the City of Stockton City Council, starting with Vice Mayor Paul Canepa. Stand up, Paul. Councilmember Albert Holman. Councilmember Kathy Miller. Is Kathy in the house? No. Councilmember Michael Tubbs. Councilmember Moses Zapian. And Councilmember Diane Burgos. Give them a hand, everyone. So some of you may read somewhere in a local newspaper that perhaps I should try a little bit harder to work and compromise with fellow council members to get some things accomplished for Stockton. And so I'm going to take that advice. And this morning I've already attempted to negotiate in good faith on your behalf. And I attempted to negotiate with Vice Mayor Canepa to get everybody in this room a free car wash at Canepa's Car Wash. But it was a conflict of interest, so I have to move on. My next goal is to work with Chief Eric Jones, and we're going to figure out how to get everyone $25 off your next speeding ticket. So I'm going to keep working for you. It's a pleasure to also recognize my friends from the Stockton Unified School District. Please help me welcome Board President Gloria Allen. Where are you, Gloria? She's back there. She's in the back of the room, folks. We have Vice President Saul Ramirez, Trustee Steve Smith, Trustee Kathy Garcia, and it's definitely not easy to manage the daily operations of the largest school district in our city. So thank you so much to Superintendent Steve Lauder for all that you do. Thank you, Steve. I know there are other elected leaders here today, and I fear that I would miss someone. So would all the elected officials at this time please stand and be recognized? Stand up, everyone. I saw Sheriff Moore out there. Come on, stand up, guys. Sam Font, Manteca Unified. David Varela, Stockton Unified. There's also two folks I want to introduce you to, and these folks are actively engaged in helping the city of Stockton restore itself and we'll be telling you more about that in future months to come. I want to recognize Christina Fugazi. Please stand, Christina. And Rick Graywall. Where's Rick? These two folks are helping me on what I call Project X to rebuild this city. Now, many of you here today are business leaders, and you all know too well the stress and pressure that your managers and CEOs must endure to effectively represent your company. I submit to you that managing the city of Stockton is even tougher. With hundreds of employees, multiple properties, a wide variety of essential services and departments, legal issues, and a complex municipal bankruptcy, I'm telling you that this job never ends. And as your mayor, I'm telling you that I have a profound respect for anyone that serves in this position and is courageous enough to make tough decisions. Please recognize our city manager, Robert Dice. For some of you, you are here because your company or organization always comes year after year. For others, it's because you are just a bit curious as to what this new mayor is going to say. I myself have attended 2 State of the Cities, once when Mayor Podesto held it here at the Port of Stockton, and once when Mayor Chavez held it at the arena. In my wildest dreams, I never imagined that I would be mayor of this city and giving this speech today. I have learned very quickly that it is not an easy job, and I am grateful and thankful for the sacrifices that all of our former mayors have made in this city. Please help me properly recognize and thank for her years of service, Ann Johnson. Give her a round of applause. So, some of you may have heard the recent rumors that I agreed to participate in a local youth conference and a comedy roast to raise money for charity. Well, folks, I'm going to save you a little money today. If you'd like me to see me get roasted, just sign on to recordnet.com every other day, and you'll see me get roasted for free. Just kidding, Scott. 6 months ago, you changed your investment portfolio, and you took a chance on new leadership, new ideas, and a new vision. You, along with the majority of Stocktonians, said loud and clear last November that you want and demand a new approach in your community. You said enough is enough, and that you are sick and tired of the dismal conditions in this city. And although you are proud of where you live, or where you work, or where you own a business, the fact remains that you are embarrassed sometimes as to what has become of Stockton, California. You want results and not excuses. Crime, unemployment, foreclosures, bankruptcy, and bad decisions have plagued this city. And where has that led us? A record homicide rate, increased gang activity, a reduction in our police force, our skilled labor force is moving away after college, struggling small businesses are closing, residents don't have the ability to pay their mortgages, and realtors are unable to rent and sell enough homes. Our city receives negative coverage for filing for bankruptcy, and all of our community leaders sometimes point fingers at one another, passing blame on their predecessors, including former elected officials, city staff, and consultants. Well, let me give everyone here a quick reality check. Guess what? We're not the only city in this country to be broke and dealing with problems. We are not a small town. We are approaching 300,000 residents, and it's time for us to accept the facts that as we get bigger, so will our problems. We will need more resources to meet the needs of this community. Every day I hear about difficult issues facing this country and our state. Sometimes it seems depressing, and there's nothing we can really do about it to bring about change except keep casting votes in elections. However, we as residents and business owners of this city do have the ability to enact positive change, and it can be seen and felt by you in a timely manner. We can and need to concentrate on our own city right here at home. And we need to empower the residents to take pride in where they live. Let's talk about one of the biggest challenges that we face. You all know it. You've all been affected by it. Crime. As you know, fighting crime is my #1 priority. The 71 homicides in 2012 was record-breaking and just short of a state of emergency as far as I'm concerned. especially when combined with an additional few hundred residents that were gunshot victims. We also saw a rise in robberies such as gold chain thefts. You also know the police department was reduced by 25% because of prior budget cuts. So what are we doing about it now? Well, our chief of police, Eric Jones, and his officers are kicking butt and taking names. We are lucky and so fortunate to have Eric Jones as our chief. Round of applause for Eric Jones. Stand up, Eric, stand up. Eric is not afraid to ask for help and try new tactics. And as a result, we have had successful partnerships with the California Highway Patrol, the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the ATF, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, San Joaquin County's District Attorney's Office, and the San Joaquin County Probation Department. In my opinion, I would also like to give a shout out to Probation Chief Stephanie James. She has been a great asset to Stockton and the entire county. You have heard about the probation sweeps. You have heard about the community response teams. What does that mean? That means a lot of drugs, weapons, and gang members have been taken off the streets, which has reduced violent crime. But is that enough? No. Are we going to stop there? No. And we will talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to let you know about the great work that leaders from all of our different spiritual groups across this city are doing on a daily basis, especially with our police chaplaincy program. Pastor Jim Reed and his chaplains have created one of the largest and most effective programs in this country. And every day, they continue to promote peace and unity in our city. They are volunteering their time. Thank you to all of our police chaplains. Please give them a round of applause. I also don't want to forget about our Crime Stoppers program, or else Linda Vadon Brown will have words with me after. But this group of individuals have made it very easy for residents to call, email, text, or Facebook anonymous tips to a third party so that we can help to solve cases across the city. Residents should be comfortable that any information they give will be 100% anonymous, and generous cash awards are given for the information. This July, I will be implementing the mayor's gun buyback program. I will fund it in part from my own salary that I will donate for this cause. I am not reinventing the wheel here. Rather, I am going to enhance previous efforts to work in collaboration with Chief Jones to offer $50 for a handgun and up to $150 for a shotgun or automatic weapon. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the elephant in the city right now. The Marshall Plan and Stockton Safe Streets. The truth is, we must support both. The Marshall Plan is a comprehensive plan that looks at the root of crime and holds the entire criminal justice system accountable. I have always supported the Marshall Plan in principle. Everything from incarceration methods and rehabilitation tactics are examined. The plan calls for more incarceration and cooperation with the county. Through this 2-year process, multiple committee meetings were held by selected groups of people, and the Marshall Plan Committee is comprised of some of the most influential people in our community. Some diligent consultants were hired to present information to the committees and roll out some of the key components, such as Project Ceasefire. Ceasefire was highly successful in Stockton 20 years ago and lowered crime. But we stopped investing in that program, and we slipped back into a significant gang problem that we see today. I am glad we are bringing it back. Just a few weeks ago, I witnessed, in person, some of our city's most dangerous parolees who have been identified as most likely to reoffend. I will report that I like exactly what I saw, and I will continue to monitor this program and support it. I am equally encouraged with the night walks that have been scheduled by community groups as they go into hotspot areas of Stockton and our community to check on the residents and get to know their issues. I am confident that When there's such a large presence of a spiritual group walking through the streets of Stockton, that will deter crime. I do hope that through the collaboration between the City Council and the county as it pertains to the Marshall Plan, we can build a better working relationship. The county and the city can foster cooperations by agreeing on water and sewer rights, and the two agencies must stop fighting about property tax revenues. Then when it comes to public safety, it wouldn't be difficult to compromise. But as I have learned in my first 4 months, nothing in government is simple. Finding true cooperation between the city and the county is the biggest challenge of the Marshall Plan. Again, I want to make it crystal clear that I do support many of the components of the Marshall Plan and always have. I could not fully sign off on it prior to seeing a budget and a plan to fund it. I don't believe in hollow promises, and that is why I helped draft Stockton Safe Streets to pay for it. I believe after 2 years and a considerable amount of money and city staff time, the residents of Stockton deserve to see what has become a reality. Starting tonight, your city council will host a series of meetings with city staff to promote the Marshall Plan and educate the general public. Obviously, it is sometimes difficult to be elected mayor and then be handed a plan to reduce crime that is not funded. I am not a cheerleader for any empty promises. I will fully support the Marshall Plan when there is a real funding plan to bring it about. I strongly believe that no idea to save a community should be shot down without a healthy debate, and every citizen who has something to say should be heard. You have heard over the past few months about Stockton Safe Streets. I encourage everyone to read the plan for him or herself. This proposed initiative is simply designed to put more police on the streets in a timely manner and give small business owners and residents the security that they deserve. It is also a funding plan to help expand the jails, incarceration, and prosecution of offenders. By the way, newsflash, the Marshall Plan also includes more cops, a lot more cops. Stockton Safe Streets can be the funding for the Marshall Plan's recommendation. These plans can and will work together. We need to stop looking at what divides us and look at common goal. Together, we will solve this problem. A lot of people will tell you that we can't afford more cops. I say we can't afford not to. Our quality of life, our economy, and our reputation depends on it. I keep telling people, hey, the city of Stockton is broke. So we can either be a broke city that is safe or a broke city that is unsafe. You decide. This is not politics. This is simple math, ladies and gentlemen. Every year we have reduced the police force, the murder rate has increased. Robberies have increased. How many of you have stopped wearing gold chains? How many of you business owners and managers have contracted with private security? How many of you or someone you care about have been the victims of crime? Right now we have 300 plus police officers. A size of our city like Stockton should have 450, according to the Marshall Plan experts. I guarantee you that there are a lot more criminals than police in the city of Stockton. Do some of you feel protected behind the gates in Brookside and Spanos Park? Sure, but none of us can live our entire lives behind gates. Crime is everywhere in our community. When you as taxpayers and residents call 911, guess what? I want you to get help fast. In an emergency situation, you don't have time to complete a 911 report online. We are living in an epidemic of narcotic trafficking, yet we have no narcotics division, no narcotics unit. This is unacceptable. How can we expect our economy to rebound under such circumstances? In the era of such shocking school violence, we have no school resource officers protecting our children at our schools. You deserve better. The Stockton Safe Streets proponents feel that any money raised by taxes should be restricted and only used for public safety. You will get exactly what you pay for. At last year's State of the City address, it was said by the mayor that the city would not ask you for a tax revenue because we could not tax our way out of such a large deficit. It was also said that our city would steer clear of bankruptcy if possible. Well, guess what, folks? 1 year later, we have found out that the world is round. Stockton has been declared eligible for bankruptcy, and just as I proposed during my campaign, a sales tax is imminent. We got ourselves into this mess, and we are the only ones who are going to get ourselves out of this mess. As your mayor, I will always give it to you straight. I don't like taxes any more than any of you, but what price tag do we put on public safety? I am convinced it is the best investment we can make in our future. So we must either tax ourselves to pay for police and start cleaning up our city street by street and showing our residents, business owners, and the rest of the nation that Stockton will not go quietly in the night and become a wasteland for criminals, foreclosures, and homeless. We should tax ourselves and pay just not for police, but sustained quality of life and debt payments so that we can exit bankruptcy in a timely manner. Let me be clear, I will not mislead the public, and we must not use them. If we say we're going to hire more police, then that is exactly what we will do. I will not, under any circumstances, mislead the public. In my opinion, just like the theme of this State of the City address, we must all leave our egos at the door and compromise on a plan that benefits all the Stocktonians, without publicly crucifying people's ideas that are geared toward cleaning up our city. I publicly and humbly beg, and that's right, beg, all the business owners, power brokers, and the citizens of Stockton to demand that your city council, your mayor, and your city manager work on a compromise that puts us on a path toward a more stable and safer Stockton. I want to be proud of Stockton. Are some of you out there proud of Stockton? I can't hear you. Are you proud of Stockton? Now, on a positive note, last year at this time, we had 24 homicides. And I am very happy to report that today we have 10. So are we getting our streets cleaned up so residents and visitors will want to come back to our city and shop for goods and services? We are also enhancing our economic development department and our building department. Now, this is something that you have heard year after year at the State of the City speeches. I know, because I sat up all night watching all of them. But the difference this year is that our board oversight committee, comprised of community members and business owners, have made relevant recommendations based on their own experiences. Some of these recommendations that are being considered are building permit fee reductions designed to stimulate the local economy and promote new construction and tentative improvement projects. Now, obviously, PFF fees, or public facility fees, are important to pay for essential city services. But we believe if we lower fees and set a period of time, we can help struggling business owners get back on their feet again. For example, let's compare building a $100,000 home in Lodi, where the fees are around $5,000, to a $100,000 home in Stockton, where the fees are $56,000. You do the math. My friends, we must be able to compete with neighboring cities, because I don't want to lose another company to Lathrop, Tracy, or Patterson. We desperately need your tax revenue here, and we certainly need the jobs. When crime has been addressed and we are a more customer service-oriented city, people will want to come to Stockton and open a business and become our corporate partner. Then and only then will we bring more jobs to our city. There is no better way to brighten up the morale of a family when you employ the breadwinner. Yes, minimum wage jobs are okay, but good paying jobs by which mom and dad can put food on the table and pay their mortgage and rent are even better. I want to thank San Joaquin County WorkNet for continuing to host such professional job fairs each year at the arena. Give a shout out to WorkNet, everybody. I am also grateful for the new partnership with our new state prison hospital, who will be hiring 2,400 jobs and making a solid effort to hire local residents and especially local vendors. My office is currently working on a project to compete with other cities and bring even more jobs to Stockton. I want to acknowledge the great work at the San Joaquin County Partnership and the Business Council for marketing our city in good light and fighting hard to bring companies to our city. Both of these organizations have been a critical partner to City Hall. So guess what? What do you think happens when you lower the crime rates, you enhance economic development, and bring new businesses and jobs to our city? You know what happens. People start moving to Stockton and buying homes. Realtors and commercial developers start making money again. So are we there yet? While there are signs of a recovering economy, unfortunately, I still hear that when realtors are showing houses, they never quite know what they're going to find when they get inside. Broken windows, a stolen ceiling fan, stolen copper wire, or worse, major damage, or even someone living in there who doesn't belong. I don't know about you, but this is unacceptable and just dangerous. Somehow, in some way, the city council and the city manager are going to have to find a way, working together, for some viable solutions. When we get more police presence patrolling, walking our neighborhoods on foot, riding bikes, and setting up temporary police substations in vacant homes in troubled areas, we will really make a dent in this problem. Which leads me to something that really nags me, and I know some of you. It's the quality of life violations in the city of Stockton. Neighborhood blight issues, property damage, graffiti, trash dumping on streets, unmaintained homes, cars parking on the lawn, disrespectful residents. It's all unacceptable, and we should not tolerate it. Yes, these are small crimes, but guess what? If we tolerate these lower-level crime standards, then we are sending a message to the bad guys that we are not going to do anything about it, and in some cases, these smaller crimes escalate into larger crimes. So what's the answer? We need more code enforcement officers, plain and simple, and there must be real consequences. This is a dilemma that will plague this city until we put our foot down. What about the transients that are sleeping in front of your businesses? What about the panhandlers? I always tell people if you go to get gas in Stockton, it's always a few bucks more sometimes. No, I do not want them thrown in jail. But I do want a healthy discussion with the community on how we go about addressing this issue. Not only do I want you to be safe, but I want you to make lots of money so you can stay in business and hand over some of that valuable sales tax to the city of Stockton, of course. I would also like to announce that once per month, folks can email the mayor's office and talk about neighborhood blight areas of Stockton, and we will do our best once a month to gather up volunteers and go out there in collaboration with waste management and go out there and clean up your trash. I will invite my fellow city council members to participate as well and give community service hours to all the students who come out and lend a helping hand. Now, you all know the importance of education. And education opens many doors. It is essential that the city, county, businesses, and the 4 or 5 neighboring school districts work together to create a more skilled labor force in our community so our students can be qualified for these jobs. As a former president of the Stockton Unified Board of Education, I can attest to the fact that traditional scholastic education and vocational education should be on equal footing and funding. As you know, some students are bound for college, and some students will have great futures in trades like construction, plumbing, auto mechanics, or even as a firefighter or a police officer. We must develop clear pathways to enhance student achievement. We must partner with our local unions to form more apprenticeship programs. And I am absolutely in love with the San Joaquin Office of Education's program at their youth build, where their students are actually being taught how to build their own school and restore a historic naval warship. County Superintendent Mick Bounce, where are you? Where are you? He's out there somewhere. I want to applaud you, sir. I want to applaud you for having the courage to try new innovative methods to keep troubled students interested in learning and engaged in real-life skill scenarios. I am also a fan of Stockton Unified's Health Career Academy that is being sponsored in part by University Park, where many amazing things are happening. Where are you guys? Where are you, Tracy Miller, and your students? We're, of course, very fortunate to have some fabulous institutions in our city, such as the University of Pacific, where President Ibach and Ted Leland and others have worked so hard to make their campuses user-friendly to our community. I am proud to be an alumni of San Joaquin Delta College, which I consider us to have one of the most professional and esteemed colleges, especially community colleges, in the entire state. I have to, of course, talk about Humphreys College, who has the friendliest and most loving staff and who bends over backwards to help working adults finish their education. Where are you, Humphreys College? You're out there too. And actually, it's a funny statistics, but there's actually 3 members of our city council who attended Humphreys College. So if you go to Humphreys College, there's a good chance you're going to end up on the city council, whether you like it or not. Let's talk about youth, kids. Some of you have heard my bit before. Remember the days of Golfland, Hammer Skate, Naughty Nick's, the indoor golf carts, or even John's Incredible Pizza? Guess what? All gone. Unless you are counting the roller skating rink at Ralph Lee White's house. So, I always tell people that we can pay a little more now by investing in our youth and supporting after-school programs and organizations like the Boys and Girls Clubs, or we can pay a little more later when these children are being incarcerated in juvenile hall. According to the state, it costs nearly $204,000 to house one youth offender in a state correctional facility per year. Now, just imagine how many children could be impacted and taken off the streets with just $5,000. It's about priorities, and we need to invest money into early intervention programs for youth and make sure that our local nonprofits are not competing with each other for funding and duplicating services. Rather, they are part of a bigger picture to ensure that no child falls between the cracks in our city. The City Council and I will continue to support youth conferences, youth concerts, and structured youth activities. We also need to encourage our local business leaders to hire more youth during the summer. Just remember what it was like for you when you landed your first job as a teenager. Do you guys remember what that was like? For me, it was as a lifeguard and a swim coach. In the absence of providing our children with structured activities, gang leaders will continue to recruit our local streets, our local kids right off the streets. The 18 to 20-year-old age group is also at risk because they are too young for high school crowd and they're too old to get into clubs. So they throw out-of-control parties where drugs and alcohol are being abused. The bottom line is, it is sometimes the responsibility to raise a child falls upon the school district and the city. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but it's time for parents to be parents. And it's time for bad parents to be held accountable. I'm going to give you just a small update on bankruptcy. Stockton was obviously found eligible because we could not pay all of our bills. So now we are under federal bankruptcy protection, and as a result, we have suspended paying bond payments. This has allowed us to continue operating the city with the general fund, which of course pays for public safety, police, fire. At this stage, we are now in the process of negotiating with our creditors and submitting what's called a plan of adjustment to the bankruptcy court, which outlines how we will plan to restructure debt with our 17 creditors and eventually emerge from bankruptcy. Our challenge is to maintain existing city services while restructuring debt and enhancing public safety, all at the same time. And more importantly, we have to restore trust between the general public and the city. City Manager Dice has put together a very good legal team thus far that has successfully navigated through the eligibility process. Now we are all left with the hard part of rolling up our sleeves and working out a plan that is fair to all parties involved. Okay, now's our time. It's finally time to talk about some good news. Make some noise for the Stockton Thunder. The Stockton Thunder is on pace to bring us home a hockey championship. What about the Stockton Ports and what I consider to be one of the best-looking ballparks in a city? What do you think about the Stockton Ports? I've got only 2 words to say about the Carrie Underwood concert and Vicente Fernandez. Sold out. We desperately need more venues that will sell out. How about the Stockton Asparagus Festival, located in the heart of our downtown? The Asparagus Festival is a very positive event for our city, and I truly believe it should stay exactly where it is. And I saw Kate post here earlier. Where are you, Kate? We should give you a public thanking. Where are you, Kate? There she is. She's hiding over there. Kate Post, everybody. I also want to thank Tony Nassetti for bringing STP car racing and motorcycle racing to our San Joaquin County Fairgrounds. And don't forget, by the way, to support the San Joaquin County Fair next month, I believe, right? So everyone come out and support the fair. Over the past few months, I have been very fortunate to spend time with agencies such as Caltrans and the Regional Transit District. A number of vital road projects, including the I-5 widening efforts, are underway. And RTD has recently released their new hybrid Metro Express buses, and of course, their Hammer Lane Triangle Station. Something else that is a positive for our city is the Delta Water Supply System. This state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar facility is the envy of other cities and is the source of potential stable revenue for our city for many years to come. It is also especially very exciting that the Economic Development Department has just had me sign over 350 welcome letters to new businesses in Stockton. Our partners at PG&E just opened a new pipeline distribution center, and a new business, South Bay Auto Auction, had a stellar grand opening in late January, and they have already become a great community partner. And when I talk about community partners, I of course have to give a special shout out to Mr. Patrick Willis at the University Waterfront Plaza Hotel, as they continually financially support a wide variety of community events and nonprofits in the Stockton area. And more so is the fact that together with the Port of Stockton, they have solely produced the city's only organized 4th of July fireworks celebration. I have recently been testifying at the state capitol to lobby for additional firework booth sales that will be held at the end of December. All that money and all of those revenues will go toward the city of Stockton to help us pay for youth programs and throw what will be a pretty awesome New Year's Eve celebration for our city. If we are truly going to build up morale here in Stockton, and since we're always talking about what to eliminate, it is also good for us to take time and figure out some revenue-generating programs as well, instead of always talking about what to eliminate. I also want to give a shout-out to great neighborhoods and shopping areas of Stockton, such as Lincoln Center, the Miracle Mile, and Trinity Parkway. Lincoln Center Live and events like the Walk in Her Shoes and the 4th of July Parade at the Miracle Mile are my favorite. But some of my favorite buildings, especially city-owned, is not City Hall, and it's not even the 400 East Main building, the WAMU building. It's actually located 35 minutes east of Lake Tahoe on Highway 88 called Silver Lake Camp, where Stockton families have been taking their children and grandchildren for decades. Please come and visit us up at the lake this summer and see the awesome support and the partnership with the Silver Lake Campers Association. When the city could not afford to run this camp, the residents of Stockton stepped up to the plate and found a way to protect this hidden gem. So now let's talk about positive versus negative. And I'm the new mayor, so you guys are always waiting for me to do something crazy, right? Not yet. I'm scared. For most of us, when we travel to another city or to another state, we are often met with the same reaction when someone asks us, "Where are you from?" And we respond, "Stockton, California." Now, just like you, I feel that often we get a bad rap. Sometimes we deserve it, and sometimes we don't. We have the power to change this perception of Stockton. I submit to you that we don't make the top 10 lists of the most miserable and dangerous cities in America for no reason. When Jay Leno says, "Stockton is so broke that even Lindsay Lohan won't shoplift here," well, it's time for us to ask ourselves, what are we going to do about it? I would like to thank Stockton Ford for their proactive approach toward getting Stockton some positive and local national coverage. I want you to fight for our city. While I support TV ads, bulletin boards, magazine articles, and talking about how wonderful our city really is, it's time we make real change and have real substance before we just simply declare that Stockton's problems have already been worked out. When we put more cops on the street, then that will be the start. It's funny that in some local media venues, and even some elected officials will say things like, "We can't arrest our way out of the problem, and more cops is not the answer." The reason I find that funny is because whenever we announce the result of an undercover sting or a multi-agency operation, there's just huge excitement around the community. They bust out with tables and they line up all the assault rifles, and everyone goes, "We got them!" They list how many arrests there were. So my point is that boots on the ground make a difference. People are safer because of those efforts. I don't want to arrest everybody, but I want us to have deterrence in this city. I want criminals to know that there will be real consequences. I said it on election night when I was sworn in, and I will say it again today. If you are selling drugs to children or you are in possession of illegal firearms, we are coming for you. And you better move out of the city right now, or I'm going to sick Chief Jones on you. So my point is that if we want positive coverage from the national media, then we need to be part of the solution and give them something positive to talk about. My theme today was not created toward taking a shot at anybody. Rather, it was a formula and a secret ingredient to Stockton's success. Think about this for a minute. Whenever our country is faced with enormous disaster, such as Hurricane Katrina or 9/11, people seem to finally put their political parties and their petty differences aside, and they rally toward each other like never before seen. Now, I think that now is the time. Now are one of those times where we need everyone to come together and help restore Stockton. We all need to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, are we helping our city, and are we helping others come together, or are we an enemy of progress and change? Yes, change is difficult to swallow sometimes, and it takes time to become comfortable with the change. I want you guys to think about what it's like for you, and I know it happens, every time you get a brand new cell phone. There are always new features that throw you off at first, and you get upset about the fact that you don't have your old phone back. But eventually, you accept these new features, and you treasure them. Our city is no different, and change is inevitable. We are easily one of the most diverse cities in this country, and that is a huge positive for our city. But we are at the crossroads of an economic divide in our city, and there is a disconnect between the general public and local government. Only together can we help to repair this connection through compassion and unity. Leadership is not a popularity contest. The city council and I cannot fix this city alone. But if ever there was a time to put aside hatred and negativity, the time is now. If ever there was a time to cut the partisan, political, umbilical cord and govern with independent thinking, the time is now. If ever the time to stop secretly rooting for your new mayor to fail, the time is now. I have a question for all of you. Did all of you leave your egos at the door this morning? Or did some of you sneak them in? You tucked them in your sock or something, you put them in your shoe? Let's have a healthy debate about real issues and fixing this broken city and moving this city forward rather than taking swimming pools away from children. Let's not be known for a city of division, but a city of diversity, determination, and decisive leadership. I'm ready to go battle for you, Stockton. Will you come? Are you guys ready to battle to change this city? Are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to come to war with me and fight so we can change things here in Stockton, California? Who's willing? If you're willing, stand up and show me that you're willing to fight for the city. I see the back standing up. Who's willing? Who's willing to fight for Stockton? On behalf of the city of Stockton, we thank you so much for coming out today and believing in our city. God bless you, everybody, and have a wonderful afternoon.